Alright, so welcome back to the stream. We are back in X-Plane, as you can see, and we're in South Africa again. Like I said before, getting back into X-Plane after quite a few months of flying GA in the new flight simulator. So let's see, we're in the ZIBO mod, Boeing 737 today. We're flying for Mango, as you can see, and we are going to be flying from Durban King Sharker, where we landed in the last stream. Very eventful landing, if you remember that one. And we're taking it down to Cape Town today. So let's jump into the cockpit and we'll get set up and ready to go. So I hope that I can actually remember how to fly the 737. As I said, it has been a while, but got my trusty checklist here to make sure we don't miss anything, hopefully. Alright, so let's go ahead and power up the aircraft first so that we can get our passengers on board and underway. So we'll turn on the batteries. Battery on. Standby power, we'll make sure that's in auto, which it is. And we can turn on the ground power.
Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo Airport information Foxtrot 18.
And that's going to keep happening, so let's just go and turn that.
Sky clear. Temperature 22 dew point 19er QNH 100.
Right, just so we don't keep getting our ATIS there. Okay, so ground power is on. Let's just check that we have power on the battery, which we do, and on the ground power, which we do. Okay, now that we're powering up, I'm gonna go and start up the APU, and we'll put our position lights into steady to indicate that we have power on the aircraft. Okay, while that's happening, I'm gonna go over to PACX on my other screen, and let's get our passengers loading. So I can't actually show you the PACX interface for some reason. If I load, or if I show the PACX window in OBS, my mouse disappears in X-Plane, and then I can't actually see what I'm clicking on. So that's something I'm going to try and figure out, but at the moment I'm not able to show you the PACX interface, which is a shame because they've added a really cool new feature where you can actually see the individual passengers moving in and around the plane to their seats, taking their seats, going to the bathroom. You can see the flight attendants moving around and serving the passengers. It's just little dots. It's not like highly animated or anything, but it's very, very cool to be able to see that. Okay, so let's get our passengers loaded up. And while they are doing that, we can carry on setting up the aircraft. Okay, so RS switches can come to nav for both of them. Make sure that the cabin power is on, which it is, and then I'm guessing the same for the IFE. Yes. Emergency lights, we can arm those. Exterior lights, we have the position lights on. We can turn the logo on. What does it look like outside? No, it's light already. This is an early morning flight, but it's light enough already that the logo light's not going to make much of a difference. Okay. Anti-collision light is off. Checked. Window heat as required. We'll turn that on. It's not particularly cold today, so we'll turn that on just before we taxi out. Okay, now we can come down to the FMC. And it's saying nav data out of date, so there must be a Navigraph update that I haven't seen yet. Let's go and grab our GPS position and set that as our IRS position so that our plane knows where it is and it'll let our IRS now align itself. Okay, what's next on the checklist? So we've set that. Probe heat will turn on just before we taxi as well. Anti-ice we don't need. Engine hydraulic pumps, those are both on, and the electric pumps are off. That's correct. Fuel pumps, we are starting the we're running the APU, so we'll turn that one on. Trim air can come on. Isolation valve is open. Recirc fans both on auto. Engine bleeds are both on. And the next thing we need to do is load our fuel. So we'll come over here to our little tablet. Let's see before we do that if we can go into Avi tab and grab our flight plan for today. So we're flying from Durban King Sharka, which is Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo, down to, that'll be this one, Foxtrot Alpha Charlie Tango. Yeah, that's this one. You can see this, that I've done this flight a few times before, so I'm just looking for the right date. And we are 6th of November 2020, that's correct. Telka 331. Okay, so our block fuel for today is 12-12-2. That's nice and easy to remember. Let's go down and get our passengers. 169 today. Zero fuel weight of 60.2. So fuel 12.1. Zero fuel weight 60.2. So let's go and start putting that in. Now they made some changes to this fuel and payload interface, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this. I did get it right the other day. So let's go. Okay, well we should do the fuel first. So fuel we said 12.1, so we'll enter that. That looks good. But then there's no way to enter zero fuel weight just like that, but we can enter payload. So there's our zero fuel weight. But here we can do 169 and put in P for PACX. So yes, we should be on the highest configuration. Right, 169. Okay, so there we've loaded our passengers, but you'll see our zero fuel weight is slightly below, so we should be 60.1 because we need some cargo as well. So let's go back here. So payload 18.5. Let's see if that works. I can't remember which figure we actually have to put in here. Oops, I went too far. So if we do 18.5 here, our zero fuel weight is slightly too high. Interesting. So let's just take this down a bit. We'll go to like 850. And let's see. Okay, so we're gonna have to have quite a lot less. Out of curiosity, what was our cargo here? 0.8. See, and I'm not sure if this. I'm assuming this must include. Is this only the passengers, or is that including the cargo as well? I'm guessing it would include the cargo. It's the total payload. So let's put this to like 17.5. 60.6, we can bring it down just a bit more. Okay, there we go. Zero fuel weight now should match. Oh, 60.2. Jeez. So let's do 17. 60.2. Okay. The reason why I try and get this as close as possible is just so that our performance actually matches. So this flight plan that I'm looking here, this comes from SimBrief, so I use SimBrief to do the flight planning, And if I can get the zero fuel weight figure and the fuel to match what we have here in our flight plan, it means that this flight plan is going to be accurate. So I try and get that as close as I can so that what we have in our actual flight plan is as accurate as possible. Okay, so now that we've got the fuel loaded, we can go and call the fuel truck. Now remember, it used to be here, but they moved it. And we'll just start the flight leg as well. It's now here. So we'll call the fuel truck and he will come along once he arrives and upload our fuel. So let's just see, we currently have a bit of fuel on board, so he's gonna increase that for us. And there, it's already starting. Okay, that's good. So we're being fueled up. Let's have a look at our checklist again. Okay, so fuel's being loaded, and we can go and set our cruise and landing altitudes. So our cruise altitude today is 340. And let's go and jump into our active sky window and have a look at the landing altitude for Cape Town. Okay, so Cape Town is at an altitude of 151 feet. So we'll dial in 150 for our landing altitude. Cool. Okay, let's have a look at our routes, or double check on the checklist if there's anything else we have to do. So, seatbelt signs to auto. And we can have a look at our route and set up our route planning in the FMC. Okay, so we're departing runway 24, direct to Namgu, direct to HMV, Avexa, Gadnu, and direct to Cape Town. By the, I think that's the Caledon BR. So no actual approach procedures there. I think I'm going to change that and do the Addons approach into Cape Town. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so our reference airport is Durban. We are at gates Alpha 8. Let's see if it'll accept that. Hey, it does. Okay, I do have this route saved. It should pick up our company routes. Oh, I think I have to add a 01. There we go, it's picked it up. We can activate that. Okay, so there we have our direct to Namgu. Okay, but I do want to change the arrival into Cape Town. I'll set up the departure in any case. We're departing runway 04. And then direct to Namgu. But when it comes to Cape Town, we're landing on Addons 1, but I want to do the Addons 1 Alpha arrival. So let's just see. I can't remember exactly where the Caledon VRR is in relation to Addons, so let's just go through the plan. Yeah, it is quite an abrupt turn, so I think instead of doing that, we are going to go from Addons, from Gadnu direct to Addons instead of Caledon. That's better. Okay, let's go and set up our performance.
happy
So
to
we'll
proceed.
pop that in.
If the overhead
Our
bin is
reserves
full,
today,
please
let's
ensure
have a
you
look.
close it as a courtesy to other passengers.
Reserves
Please
1.1.
double check that all your items are put away so that the aisle is clear and other passengers can make their way to their seats.
Cost
If you're in an
index
emergency exit row, please read
is
the exit
5.
seating responsibilities in the card in the seat back in front of you.
And we're
If you're
cruising
not able to
at
comply with these
34,000
actions,
today.
please let a flight attendant know so
Now
that way
this
you can be
part,
seated.
I'm not
Now's the time to
100%
get
sure
out
if I
any
filled this
last-minute
in
text messages if
correctly,
you need to, but we
but
ask
I
that once you
believe we
start
take
moving, put
this
away any
average
laptops
wind
or tablets.
here.
Thank you, and welcome aboard.
257.075, 257/075, and we put that in there. And then our ISA deviation is +7, which goes there, I think. Not 100% sure on that. Let's go to our flex, which I normally do 50. I call it flex because I'm used to flying the Airbus. It's not actually flex, it's our selected temperature. And we can see outside it's 22 degrees at the moment, so we've set that to 50, which will give us a lot of breathing room. Flaps 5 for takeoff, and there are our V speeds, so we'll go 143, 145, and 149, and I like to put this in right away. 149. Okay, so our trim today 5.75. Let's go and dial that in as well. That looks about right. Okay, so we filled all that in. That's all filled in. That's all filled in. Set this back to map. I wonder if we shouldn't rather do the Grahamstown departure. Let's see what that looks like. Grahamstown? It's not Grahamstown, it is Greytown. Now that's adding a bit of unnecessary distance to it. Okay, we'll leave it as direct. We'll just kind of self-vector ourselves on the departure. That's okay. Okay. Right, we have filled in the route, we've filled in our performance, our N1, we've set our trim, so that's all set. Altimeter. So let's go and use our Active Sky ATIS.
Foxtrot, Alpha, Lima, Echo, airport information, Juliet, 1800, Zulu, weather, wind, 197 at 3, visibility, 10,000, sky clear, temperature 22, dew point 19, QNH 1009, advise on initial contact, you have information, Juliet.
Okay, so we have information Juliet and we are 1009. That is set. Okay, now that our fuel's loaded, let's switch all of these on. Do we have fuel in the center tank? Yes, we do. So these can come on too. We'll switch over from ground power to the APU. Okay, the APU is running unstable, so APU bleed can come on. And let's check that we are getting power from that, which we are. Right, flight directors can come on. And check that the auto throttle is off, which it is. Okay, IS V2 is set. And altitude, because we're flying offline, we will go straight up to our cruise altitude of 34,000. like so. Okay, fuel flow. Let's go reset. Show
We're
our used
refueling
fuel
someone.
over there.
We should be ready shortly.
Okay, so that was our PACX cabin crew letting know that they have a seating issue. What that means is we need to go and let the passengers know that we have a slight delay due to having to reseat someone, but it will be very short. Okay, that's done. There's no announcement or anything. Just reflects in the status page on PACX, which I need to figure out a way to be able to show you guys. Okay. Minimum switch set to radio. Landing gear lever is down. Speed brake lever is down. Cross levers closed. Engine start levers cut off. Parking brake is set. Door damper, once the IR is aligned, which it is, can come on. Passengers are still busy boarding. That is the last thing to wait for. Once the passengers are ready, we are ready to go. Come on, play nicely, Charge. Okay, so we are taking off from runway 24, which is the far runway down here. We are over here at Alpha 8, which is about here somewhere. So we're one of these ones here. I don't know if I can actually zoom in enough to read this. Alpha 8 looks, yeah. So we're over there. So I think we are going to take we'll just go Echo and then Alpha all the way down to runway 24. That is the plan. Okay, so going so far with remembering where things are in the 737, which I'm quite pleased about. But there's still a long way to go. We haven't even set off yet. Okay, checklist, we're still waiting for the passengers to finish, and then we will carry on with our push and start procedures. Yeah, one thing I always forget to do in the ZIBO is to actually do these cabin announcements. We'll see if we can remember. Just double checking and everything looks good so far. Alright, let me check in our cabin crew and see how far we are with boarding.
We're still boarding. Let us know if you need anything.
Okay, so they say about a minute left, so we're almost ready to go. Fantastic.
We're ready to go when you are.
Okay, let's go ahead and set up our
Hey,
pushback.
Captain, let me know where you want this thing.
That's
Good morning, ladies
perfect.
and gentlemen,
Great
and
news,
welcome
Captain.
aboard
Your tow's
flight
coming.
331.
Okay, while
Our
the
flight
tow is
time will be
connecting,
roughly
let's
2
go
hours
anti-collision
and
light
9
on.
minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode
Okay,
and
push
your
and
large
start
devices are now shut
checklist.
down and
System
stowed.
B,
Please
hydraulic
fasten your
pump
seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in the full
is
upright and locked
on.
position for departure. Cabin crew, prepare
Fuel
cabin
pumps
for
are all
departure.
on. Anti-collision light is on. Position light set to steady, already done. Auto throttle can be armed now. While that's happening, let's do our welcome announcement.
Alright, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
Okay, so he's gonna now lift us up. Watch carefully, you'll see the nose come up slightly as the tow truck raises our front wheel up. There we go.
Welcome aboard, Captain. Tow's connected, bypass pins inserted. Go and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Okay, so let's release the parking brake.
Here comes the
And we
pushback.
will
Light them
push.
up.
Right, we can start the engines. So we'll start the right engine first. So, PACX off. Ignition set to right. Engine 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your
Round.
communication to the flight attendants as they demonstrate the safety features of our aircraft. You will notice a light illuminated above your seat. When
And
this light is
we'll
illuminated, please fasten your seatbelts low and tight across
bring in the
lap.
fuel
To fasten,
at
insert the metal
25%
fittings into one
N1.
another
So
and
there's
tighten by pulling on
16,
the loose end of the
17,
strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle.
there's
We suggest
22,
that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight
and
as we may
25,
experience
we can
unexpected
bring in the
turbulence.
fuel.
There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please take a few moments now to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event of a decompression, an oxygen mask will drop in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth, secure the elastic band behind your head, tighten the straps if necessary, and breathe normally.
And there's
Although the bag
cutouts.
does not inflate, oxygen
So we'll
is
go and
flowing
do
to
the
the
same
mask.
for the left
If you're
engine.
traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask on first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it is safe to remove it. In the unlikely event of a water landing, a life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Flip it
Just
over your
about
head.
done here. Go
Wrap
ahead and
the
set your
straps around
parking
your
brake.
waist and buckle at the
Okay,
front.
we'll set
Pull
our
the
parking
straps
brake
tight.
while we're waiting for that
Complete the
engine to
vest
split
And
up.
we're
There's
disconnecting.
25.
Give me just a moment.
If it doesn't inflate automatically, you may blow into the mouthpiece for manual inflation.
Okay, so our tug is disconnecting. Right, once that engine is stable, we'll go ahead and connect the generators.
Please securely stow your personal items. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened and seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with,
Right,
disabling, or
cleared to
destroying the
disconnect,
smoke
and
detectors
there's
located in the
cutout on
lavatory is
engine 2.
prohibited by law. All of this information can be found in the safety card located in the seat back in front of you. Please read it and let a cabin member know if you have any questions. Thank you for flying with us again, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Okay, generators, we'll switch over to the engines. We'll bring our hydraulic
And
pumps
we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it
which
easy.
they
Have a
are
safe flight.
already. Okay, this can come over to Gen 1, and we do have electricity. Alright, then Pro heats can come on, window heats can also come on. Anti-ice is not required. Next to auto, isolation valve, auto, APU bleed off, APU off. Okay, these can come on. Let's check for the signal. He's already given the signal and driven off while we were doing other things. That's perfect. So taxi lights and runway turn-off lights can come on, and we will go flaps 5. Okay, taxi procedure. Flaps set for takeoff. Taxi lights set. Runway turn-off lights are on. Okay, so we're going to taxi out here onto Echo and all the way down to runway 24. Clear left, clear right. Brakes released. Okay, so there's something I need to go and set. I think I might have updated the ZIBO. And we just need to go into settings, hardware, and turn that on so I can actually steer. Let's just double check. There's nothing else here I need to change. Looks fine. It's all good. Range should be on. Okay, we want to sync those. Okay. And we're back on our way. Okay, I now have nose wheel steering, which is good. Okay, so we've got quite a way to taxi. So let us have a look and do our before takeoff checklist while we stay in the middle of the taxiway. Alright, so engine start switch is to continuous. auto brake, RTO. Okay, we didn't actually set our transponder. Should be one. But that'll go as we enter the runway to TARA. It's arm VNAV and LNAV. That's not going to let us on because we don't have a SID selected, which is fine. Okay, so the only thing is we have left to do is set up the lights for takeoff. So landing lights will come on, taxi lights, runway turn-off lights will come off, and strobes will come on. That we'll do as we enter the runway. TCAS to TRA, that'll also come on as we enter the runway. Okay, let's just double check and see that we haven't missed anything. But there's no one else out here, so let's turn these on. Alright, then as we are ready for takeoff with lineup with the runway, we'll start the clock timer. I can remember where that is. Okay, that's over there. Throttle to up to 40%, then we release the brakes, and then we engage the toga. And we accelerate to the normal V1, V-rotate, and V2 speeds. So if we have any sort of failure before V1, I'll go full manual braking and we will reject the takeoff. Okay, once we're up, we'll retract the flaps on schedule, turn off the auto brake and engine start switches, and come back to auto. Right, so we'll line up here with runway 24. Okay, let's reset our heading. So we are in fact 243. Heading select, VNAV is engaged. We will go TARA. And we'll spool up to 40%. Brakes released. And toga. checked.
B1, rotate. Positive rate.
Hey, positive rate, gear up.
$400.
Right, let's go
1000.
ahead and engage the autopilot. And turn off our auto brakes. Engine start switches back to auto. We forgot to set our clock timer. Oops. Okay, first mistake of getting back into the ZIBO. Let's go flaps 1. We'll also bring our landing gear down to off. And flaps up. And I think at this point we can go direct to Namgu. It is Namgu, right? Yes. Okay, so we're just passing through 3,000 feet. Let's go through our checklist, make sure we haven't missed anything. No, we have not. The next thing on our list is landing lights off, crossing 10,000 feet, and then altimeter standard when we cross the transition altitude. We are flying down the coast to the west, so as you can see, the sea is off to our left hand side. Little bit hazy today, which it always kind of is on the coast. No significant weather to report though. Okay, and we are powering out of Durban, South Africa on our way to Cape Town. Right, so there's 5,000 feet, which is our transition altitude, so we can set standard. Double check that it's set on the other side as well, just because, which it is. Just passing through 7,000 feet now. Over the city of Durban. There's Durban Harbour over there. Okay, there's 8,000 feet. And 9,000 feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet. We may
So I
turn
don't know
off
what
larger
altimeter
portable
PACX
electronic
works off,
devices.
but it
This is
never
also a reminder to please keep your seatbelt fastened
it never
throughout the
gets
duration
its
of the flight.
10,000
Do not
foot
form a line near the
announcement
left.
correct. Okay, there's
This
10,000 foot
aircraft is
for
equipped with onboard
realsies.
Wi-Fi.
Landing lights will
Once
come
you
off,
connect to the Wi-Fi,
and we
direct
will turn our
communication
seatbelt
to a small
signs
speaker internet
off
access.
so that our
We do
passengers
offer
can go wild in the
complimentary
back.
flight communications to our partners. Connect to the Wi-Fi and you'll be able to access our wide range of free live TV and case movies library.
Nice early morning flight
The flight crew
along the
has turned off the
coast.
fasten seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move around the cabin. However, we ask that you keep seatbelt fastened when needed in case of unexpected turbulence.
Okay, so we've done the welcome. Our next announcement that we have to do is at our level off into the cruise. Cruising at 34,000 feet today. And we should be there in about 10 minutes to our cruise altitude, thereabouts. And I just realized that I don't have my little overlay, which tells us where we are and where we're going. So let's fix that. What is our call sign again today? Toka 331. 331. Okay, why does my little overlay not want to show up? It's weird. Huh. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so overlay software doesn't want to play the game today, unfortunately. Andrew, we've got some time. I guess I can keep messing around with it. Not particularly interesting to watch though. Almost at our top of climb now, just about to pass 22,000 feet. Right, let's try this again. Nope. Okay. I'm gonna stop messing around with that. We'll sort that out sometime. It was working fine in the last stream, and now it doesn't want to seem to load the graphics in the actual overlay software. It's not in OBS or in the stream, it's actually the software itself doesn't want to generate its own graphic. But hey, not particularly important. So let's see if this works. Hey, there we go. So if you do want to tell the route, you can use Nightbot to let you know. Exclamation mark route will bring up the current route. At least that's working, that's cool. Okay, so just passing through 27,500 feet, climbing up to flight level 340 today. Again, there's the end of our photoreal scenery, or our photo textures. Gotten used to the new flight simulator where you have that all over, not the case in X-Plane. Takes up a huge amount of space, so only got that in certain areas that I fly in and out of regularly. So Durban's one of them. Cape Town is another, so we'll have photo textures once we get to Cape Town. As I always say though, I mean we're up at 28,000 feet now. There's not a huge amount we can see down there. It looks nice with all the rivers and the mountains have nice texture to them, but other than that, you're not going to make out individual buildings and stuff from up here in most cases, so doesn't make too much of a difference as far as I'm concerned. Okay, now we're passing through 29,000 feet. Just keeping an eye on our center fuel tank, because obviously once that is empty, we will go ahead and switch off our center fuel pumps. Alright, passing through 30,000 feet. all looking good so far on the flight deck. Alright, almost at our top of climb. Let's have a look at what the weather's doing in Cape Town so long. Get an idea of what we're going into. Okay, so temperature 14 degrees. Currently there's no rain, but there is rain forecast. So possibly be raining when we get there? No, I don't think so. It's going to be quite a while after that. Wind is 10 degrees at 6 knots. It's 1,000 feet to our top climb. And QNH 1011. Visibility more than 10 miles. It's going to be a couple of hours still before it starts raining in Cape Town, so we shall be fine. Not that it would be an issue if it was raining in any case. Alright, so there's our top of climb. Let's go and let our passengers know we are leveling off. Okay, still 2.4 tons of fuel in our standard tank, so we've got a while before we switch those off. Okay, so we're expecting top of descent at 46 minutes past 5. So that's about an hour and 26 minutes from now.
Moments, our lovely flight attendants will be starting our in-flight service. We'll be serving complimentary drinks and snacks. Premium drinks are available for a small charge. Please note we only accept credit cards.
Got my own complimentary drinks. As you can see, very full plane we got today. So I do start to worry a little bit when I hear pinging and I'm messing around in the cabin. Oops, we just went outside of the aircraft there a little bit. So our camera just clipped through the top, that's why we heard the outside sounds. Why are you pinging, or was that a cabin crew ping? Okay, we're good. Nothing to stress about. We can go mess around in the cockpit, in the cabin some more. I'm wondering if that coughing is actually in the music or if it's part of the cabin sound. That's the second time I've heard it, and it's like perfectly synced with the beat, so I think it's actually in the song. Look at that view. I mean, you can't say that X-Plane looks bad. Like, the new flight sim, for sure, I mean, it's groundbreaking. We've never had anything like that. But for flying airliners like this, there's nothing wrong with X-Plane. And it's interesting because before the new flight sim, I used to use old flight sim for flying airline. That coughing is in the song, 100%. 100% that cough is in the song. It's timed with the music too perfectly. It must be. We'll see. We got a new song now. We'll see if we still hear the coughing, if it's part of the cabin sound. So I think that was in the song. I used to use the old flight sim to fly airliners and do VFR stuff in X-Plane because you got the photo textures and you could still navigate that way. But with the new flight sim, it's changed VFR flying in the sim completely. So now I've kind of left old flight sim. I never moved to prepared. I thought prepared was just way too expensive for what you get. And so I still have FSX, and I like FSX for my PMDG aircraft, the 777, the 747. I used to fly the PMDG 737 a lot in FSX, but now with the ZIBO mod in X-Plane, I don't know, it feels more realistic. I'm not a real 737 pilot, I'm not a real pilot at all, but I really do think ZIBO has one of the best add-ons out there at the moment for flight sim. So now the rules are kind of reversed. I've left FSX a bit. I would still keep flying the PMDG aircraft in FSX. The problem is just the crashes, man. The OOMs are just too much. I mean, I tried the other day taking off from Heathrow, and you know, 20 minutes in and it just crashes. So I'm really keen for the PMDG stuff to come to the new flight sim. I think it's going to be a long time before we see the likes of the 747 and the 777 in the new flight sim. But that's going to be really, really awesome. I mean, like we've been saying, not only has Microsoft built just a groundbreaking simulator, but they've built an awesome platform, and the weather engine's fantastic. Not perfect yet. There's some things that need to change. I'm always making fun of the the persistent lightning, which is everywhere. If there's a cloud, there'll be lightning, which isn't how it's supposed to work, I believe. Well, I hope they're working on a fix for that, because it wasn't like that to start off with, and then they've made some tweaks to where lightning was placed, and now it's just everywhere. If there's a cloud, there'll be lightning and thunder. Even if there's no rain, even if it's a few small clouds, you're gonna get lightning. So it's not perfect by a long way. I don't know how I feel about the flight model. So the X-Plane feels a lot more, I don't know, I want to say realistic, but what does that actually mean? I mean, I'm not a real pilot, so how do I know? Just X-Plane feels more immersive. I still think, especially the rudder controls in Flight Sim are just far too twitchy and too sensitive. And I've been playing around a lot with the sensitivity settings, and I just can't get it to a point that I'm completely happy with. The airliners obviously in Flight Sim are still way behind what we have for X-Plane with like the ZIBO mod, for example. But that's to be expected. I mean, it's still a very, very, very new sim, and it'll get there. But for VFR flying, nothing beats the new Flight Sim. And so I'm happy to fly airliners in X-Plane. I'm pretty sure I'll do some old school FSX flying in the PMDG aircraft. We'll just have to stick to some smaller airports so we don't get out of memory areas. But yeah, so getting back into X-Plane, I think this is probably the third or fourth time I've flown X-Plane in about 4 or 5 months. But getting back into the airliner stuff, I'm really enjoying it. We had no issues with the ZIBO so far. If you watched yesterday's stream, we were flying the Tolis A319, which threw a bunch of failures at us, including an engine 1 flame out right at top of descent. And then on final, we had no gear come down, which I think was actually my fault, because some sort of failure caused our PTU pump to go absolutely crazy, and so I turned that off. And thinking about it after the fact, I think that might have been what caused our gear to not want to come down. So that was pretty eventful. And this flight, less so. It's quite a bit longer than the other one. The other one, we actually timed it. We spent 8 minutes and 44 seconds in the cruise. That's it. From Joburg to Durban. Very short flights. Flown on it for real a few times. The cabin crew basically has to dash around, throw your peanuts and your drinks at you quickly, make sure you swallow them in one go, and then it's time for descent again. So very quick flight. Quite a bit longer down to Cape Town. So once we reach top of climb, it's about an hour and a half in the cruise before we reach top of descent. So we're taking it easy, nice, chilled so far. Flight down to Cape Town on a Friday night. An interesting change in our shadows there. And you can hear our passengers chatting away. Let's maybe go back to the flight deck and see what we missed. Oops. Okay, we'll close the door. Okay, so Yeah, looking good. One thing I didn't do is turn on the weather radar because we had absolutely no reports of weather whatsoever, so we'll stick that on. And because we should, we'll go terrain on that side. That is a interesting little cloud. And there is another aircraft out there. That is interesting. Did I fly online by mistake? No. Okay, so that must just... I was under the impression that I had turned off AI traffic, but evidently not. Oh, a little bit of cloud in front of us. Nothing too serious though. So quite high level clouds, so we'll look out for some turbulence as we go over them. If we do hit turbulence, we will just have to let our passengers know and stick on the seatbelt sign. Okay, so still expecting top of descent 5:47. It is currently 4:45, so about an hour to go to our top of descent. Yeah, weather's still looking good in Cape Town. A few scattered clouds at 4,000 feet. That's all we have to report. Still 14 degrees, QNH 1011. Visibility more than 10 miles. Yeah, so just looking at the airports on our display here, we've got Queenstown off to our left, Bishu, Grahamstown, so we're just passing through the Eastern Cape now. There's Uitenhage over there, I think Uitenhage, something like that. Which means Port Elizabeth is just out here. The next up in terms of major airports would be George, and on to Cape Town. There's Port Elizabeth, there's George down there, Oudtshoorn, Mossel Bay. I'm actually going to change this over because Mango have the older halogen lines that don't have pulses. I don't know if they have heads-up displays actually. What is that bonging? I was worried I'm missing something, but it sounds like the cabin crew sound, so maybe it's just passengers wanting something. Let's hope. I mean, there's no warnings or anything. We've still got fuel in our center tank, so we're still not going to turn that off yet. So I don't know what the bonging is, but it doesn't seem to be life-threatening. Here's the option. Let's show our passengers. Right, we can make another trip out there. There we go. Now we have... Geez, Rona has hit hard, eh? We don't have many people on board. So far for the 189 people. Okay. These people are really creepy. You look like the same person. What if you were twins here, get seats next to each other? Maybe they're having a fight. You are massively tall. You're also the same person. And there's 3 of you. That's not creepy. Just staring at the back of her head. So weird. You're sort of looking not out the window, just into. Okay. Maybe it was a mistake. Oh, very, very tall. Okay, so can I confirm passengers? Be creepy looking. I do that every time. Every time. Hello, hello ma'am. Are you fine? Are you okay? Very rude. Just ignores me. Bonging! What's... why? I heard the bonging over here. Who's bonging? Do anything with this? No. definitely heard the bonging over here. I'm guessing it is the passenger calling for assist. Oh my word. Ma'am. Ma'am, you're verging into the chair. How are you? Fine? She's fine. Definitely fine. But your head is very small compared to the rest of your body. Probably not going to get the best reviews after going into the back and slating the passengers for their appearance. But hey, let's give them a good landing. Maybe they'll take a bit of sass if we land nicely. We can only hope. Whoa. Okay. Felt like that turn was a little bit violent. I think I could do... every time I try and bring up PACX, just breaks the X-plane, and then I can't click on anything. Okay, so expected arrival for PACX is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Satisfaction is only 8% because we had a slight delay needing to reseat a passenger, so some of them are a bit upset about that. Also maybe it's because I said they looked weird. But let's go and have a look. So we are predicting Cape Town at 6:10, which gives us 1 hour and 10 minutes, which is 10 minutes ahead of schedule. So that's good. Maybe we can catch up that 10 minutes that we wasted, or 10 minutes that we lost reseating passengers. 10 minutes is the minimum delay. We didn't actually take that long to fix it, but that's the minimum amount of delay you can announce in PACX. So looks like we've made that up because we're expecting to arrive in about 1 hour and 10 minutes, and PACX says expected arrival 1 hour 19 minutes. So we'll see as we get closer to the airport, then we can announce that we're going to be slightly ahead of schedule and make everyone happy. Always good making people happy. Okay, so our next waypoint is Avexa, and about 20 minutes to go till that point. Looking good, still 1 ton of fuel in our center tanks, so we're going to leave those on for the meantime. We got a lot of fuel on board. We still haven't drained our center tank. 4 tons each side in our main tanks. So I think we're going to land with quite a bit of fuel. Let's see what it says. Fuel quantity on board at Cape Town 6.2 tons. And our reserves are 1.1. So we've got quite a bit of extra fuel in the tank, which is... I was going to say it's always good, but it isn't actually, because the more fuel you carry, you're always trading you burn fuel to carry fuel. So the more fuel you carry, the heavier you are, the more fuel you have to burn to climb, etc. So generally you want to put in kind of just enough to get there and a little bit extra to be safe, but carrying extra fuel means you burn extra fuel. Something to keep in mind. I wonder, if we put this on auto, what does that do? Let's see, are they still going to be there? Yes. Maybe when I close the door, they disappear. But I guess we'll never know, because we can't check. It's like the light in the fridge. Is it on when you close the door? You'll never know. So if you have anyone out there who's thinking of getting into flight sim, don't show them this part, because everyone who says flight simulators are boring, I wouldn't say that this part is boring. It's interesting to me, but I think to 99% of people, they'd look at this and go, really boring. Maybe we should go back to streaming with the A319 that has a failure every time we fly. It makes it a little bit more interesting. I did pick a longer flight for tonight though. Obviously the cruise time is time to chat about whatever you want to chat about. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And don't call me a weatherman. So we've lost 2 minutes. When we first... Oh, we're losing another minute. There it goes. It's deciding. But when we first started, it was saying 5:46. There it is. We've lost the 3rd minute. Fired. We'll be fine. So 5:49 we're predicting. It is now 5:07. So just over 40 minutes left to go before top of descent. And if we carry on at this rate, we're now predicting Cape Town at 6, which means we might actually end up losing most of our 10 minutes that I thought we had caught up. So passengers aren't going to be too happy if we arrive 10 minutes late. Their satisfaction level at the moment is still 88%, which isn't bad. Could be better. Like I said right at the beginning when we were boarding, we had an issue with the passenger seating arrangement, so we had a slight delay to wait for that to get sorted. Hashtag weatherman. Speaking of weatherman, let's go and see what the weather is like in Cape Town. And of course, absolutely nothing has changed. So, yeah, nothing's changed. Still QNH 1011, 10 degrees at 6 knots, 14 degrees temperature, few clouds at 4,000 feet. So, no weather issues in Cape Town. Okay, I don't think it's safe to go walk around the cabin again. This is what we do. All these creepy people. I think, whoa, what is happening there? I think she likes him. He's looking the other way, but he's like, oh yes, finally holding my hand. Well, finally clipping through my hand. Close enough. That window is a little bit closed. Let's go over and look over here. Let's go and look out here. Why? Why are the speed brakes extended? Holy moly. That is interesting. Oh yes, I don't know if you know, but pilots can teleport. That's why if something goes wrong on the flight deck, you just quickly teleport back there. Yeah, I don't know why the speed brakes were out. Maybe that's why. Unless I just pushed that button by mistake when I was walking around. Whoops. Best pilot. Let's go back. Yeah, look at that. Coke. Sprite. What is that? That must be some sort of alcoholic beverage. I don't recognize the label though. But I was trying to look out the window before I realized that our speed brakes were out. You're always sinking into the chair everywhere I see you. Pull yourself together, man. Oh my word, I can click on the emergency exit. I'm very much not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to stay away from that in case I click on that by mistake. Let's find a nice window to look out of. We're somewhere here by these two. Look at that. Nice early morning flight. Sun's just coming up. Forwards, man, damn it. Your head's still very small. And speed. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? Attention, please. None of you have seatbelts on. And your legs look like they were drawn by a 5-year-old. Oh my word, your knees are square. What is going on with your feet? Sir, are you okay? Oh, it looks like I'm just kneeling in the aisle, but sir. Sir, your legs are very weirdly shaped. Is there a doctor on board? Anyone a doctor? Doesn't look like it. So you'll be fine. We're gonna get you there as soon as possible. Just try and relax. Just gonna ignore that. You look very happy. And you look very stylish, sir. You have legs. Yes. You do. You look way overdressed to be flying, ma'am. And your eye makeup is very intense. This is why I only get good reviews. Your window's closed. You paid for a window seat, man. Look out the damn window. Right, let's go back and make sure we are not crashing. Close the door, just keep out the riffraff. Okay. All looking good. We've lost another minute to Cape Town. Losing minutes. Not good. Clouds partying it up to the music. World-class commentary, says Sizzle. I don't know. Hopefully I'm entertaining. Sometimes I just think I might have something wrong with me. But you know, I'm doing my best as a pilot to look after my passengers. Make sure they're okay. Definitely some Rona on this flight though, if you look at those people. I can say that now because we're in the cockpit. Make sure the mic's not on. It's not. I think we're fine. They didn't hear us. Okay, how far are we from top of descent? 5:49, about half an hour. Let's start having a look at our arrival. So we'll be performing the Addons 1 Alpha arrival into runway 01 at Cape Town. So we leave Addons 245 degrees, we intercept, no, not at 245 degrees, we leave Addons on the R065, the radial from Cape Town VR. At 8 DME we turn left to 190, and then we'll vector ourselves in over the water and perform the ILS into Cape Town International. Relatively straightforward. Let's see what they have to say. Leave Addons on the R065 inbound, and passing 8 DME, turn left to track 190 for radar vectoring. Passing just over the Stellenbosch airfield there. And in terms of altitudes, they don't give us any altitudes. So let's go and have a look at the ILS for runway 1. And I think we come down to 2000, that's correct. Okay, so we'll come down to 2,000 feet. That all looks good. Okay, we're on apron Alpha. And let me go and just get that other chart. I think it's this one. That's the one. Who's bonging again? Passengers. Yeah, our center tank is almost empty. And we can turn off our center fuel pumps. Okay, so we are... Let's have a look. Well, we're done on this side, so we'll take something like Alpha 12. Looks good. Everyone happy with Alpha 12? Good chat. Okay, so we've lost another minute. But I'm guessing that's because we got quite a significant headwind there. That's okay. So we're expecting to arrive in Cape Town at 12 minutes past 6. So let's go and double check with PACX and see what they're saying. So PACX is expecting us to arrive in 56 minutes, which will give us, yeah, we're going to be just a couple minutes early. Nothing too special. But we're not going to be late, which is good, considering we had a 10-minute delay to the start. We're going to make it in time, and our interesting looking passengers can go off and do whatever they are going to Cape Town to do. We don't ask questions like that here at Mango. Otherwise, we are pretty much all set for the arrivals. So we'll do flaps 30. So our speed is going to be 151. Let's go back here, and we can load up our ILS-1 arrival, or ILS-1, ILS for runway 01. So our ILS frequency is 110.3. And we have that set, the course of 11 degrees, and it is CTI. That's good. So let's go and put in that course. Like so, and we'll put it on the side as well, for good measure, like so. Our speed is 151, and that all looks good for our arrival into Cape Town. We can go and switch this back over to the arrival. Okay, there's our fuel indication, which means we can come up here and turn off our center fuel pumps. Alright, so we're coming up to George on our left hand side, just passing, I think that's Beaufort West. We're not going to see George because he's inside. No, because there's clouds. And George is a place, not a person. That wasn't funny. Bong. Passengers are very needy. Right, who summoned me? And we emerge from the cockpit. Who summoned me? So you're on. So your hand. If someone comes rolling along here with the drinks trolley, they're gonna break all 3 of those fingers off. And you look very happy about it. Please, sir. Okay. Who bonged? And your face is quite pointy. So is yours. all our passengers that we are taking down to Cape Town. What a wonderful bunch. So I hope you don't mind, I'm coming to sit on your lap. It's fine, it'll be fine. Just want to look out the window. I think I just went through your face. You'll be fine, sir. Looking good. Okay, don't go too high so we clip through the plane and get the really loud sound and get a fright on camera. I'm very... Ooh, click on something there. Just me, or did my mouse change here? Oh. But... Oh, I think it might have been that. I'm very, very tempted to click on, "Sir, please take your hand off her leg." That's very creepy. I will not stand for that on my plane. Sir. You terrify me. I really want to click on the emergency exit and see what happens. I mean, pretty sure I know what happens, that it's going to open and bad things are going to ensue. Bing! Who binged? Was it you? How can I be of assistance? Oh my word. Wonder you binging. There's been a serious accident. Is that you? Maintain yourself. Please. This is unnecessary. What if there was someone sitting there? See, I mean, here's your twin. She's got it right. Look at that. Feet down. No respect for other people's personal space. Your hand's just floating. That looks very uncomfortable. So is yours. See, now imagine I was coming down here with the drinks trolley. So, your hands would be broken. This flight's anything to go by. We should permanently have doctors on airplanes. Jeez, so your head is very small. I think I said that already. And you, another one. Paid for a window seat. Look out the window. So your legs. Oh my word. Both of you in this row. There's no hope for either of you. Open this door. Oh, I can. Not going to do that. Okay guys, it is almost time for us to descend. Can you please keep yourselves under control? Especially you, looking at you. Hey, hey. Listen here, we're gonna get you to the hospital. You're gonna be fine. Just don't look down. Don't look. You'll be fine. Okay, I'm gonna go do my job. Cheers, plebs. Hold on tight. Bye-bye now. Make sure that door's locked. Auto. Deny. Deny! I want to deny. You don't let me deny. Right, so I'm done with this plane. Maybe I'll open the... Whoa. Clouds are just loading. That's how it works in real life as well. I promise. Okay, progress update. Let's go to our progress page. Top of descent at 5:52. That is 20 minutes away. Cape Town at 6:13 with 6.3 tons of fuel on board. All good. Coming up to George now, which will be out there somewhere. And then over the mountains and down into Cape Town we go. Okay, let's have a look at PACX. You'll see our satisfaction is at 87%, not too bad. Let's see if there's anyone. We have the people who... Tina Saunders. 28 years old, travelling for leisure, very thirsty. Where are our flight attendants? Please go and get Tina a drink. Honest. Tara Baker, 81 years old, and she's hungry, guys. Come on, this is not acceptable. This is not the mango way. Let's sort this out. Bennett Taylor is also hungry. He is 46 years old. He is seated with his seatbelt on. What a good passenger. Everyone else seems to be alright. Here's another one. Lillian Ray is hungry, thirsty, and tired. He's traveling for business. How can you be hungry, thirsty, and tired? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, it'll be 7:30 local time in the morning, and you're traveling to Cape Town for business. You shouldn't be tired. But you are seated with your seatbelt on, so we'll give you points for that. Hey Sizzle says, since you are the weatherman, you would know the clouds change from pink to white. Not weatherman. Not a weatherman. I'm sure you do have proof, but it's not on this channel, so I will be safe. How high are we above sea level? that. So, okay, above sea level, we're at 34,000 feet. So yeah, 34,000 feet above sea level. Above the ground, it's a bit difficult to say, because I'm not 100% sure what the ground level is at the moment. But yeah, sea level's easy. We're at 34,000. And we will be for the next 15 minutes or so. 14 minutes. And then we will be making our way down into Cape Town. Which is my favorite aircraft to fly, and why? That is a tough question. Sure, I guess it depends on what I feel like flying. So, I enjoy flying airliners like the 737 that we're flying now. I enjoy flying the GA stuff. I like the Cessna 172. I also like flying fighter aircraft, military aircraft. So in DCS, the F-16, the F-18, the A-10, etc. So it's really tough to just pick one. My favorite aircraft in real life, I think, in terms of just the way it looks, is probably the A330. I really like the look of the A330. It's so it's just elegant, I guess. But in flight sim at the moment, I don't have a particularly high quality A330, so I don't fly it very much. If I had to choose one, I'd probably pick the Airbus A319. That's the one we were flying the other night down to Durban when we had all of those failures. Although, with the Airbus, it's a lot more of a computer, really. It's not as mechanical as the Boeings, but yeah, I really do enjoy flying the Airbus. Otherwise, I also really like the 747, which I have only in a different simulator in the old flight sim, which we can probably resurrect and fly that sometime. Obviously, though, the 747 is going to be doing longer routes, although we could do Joburg down to Cape Town in the 747. That one's also fantastic to fly, and the PMDG, the company that makes those add-ons, or that makes the 747 add-on that I've got, it's modeled to extremely high quality. Everything's modeled, so you can go through all the systems, you can play with all the fancy computers and all of that. So yeah, however, in the new flight sim, I really like the GA stuff. I like the DA62. I've always liked the Cessna 172. It's the only plane that I've flown for real in real life. As I said before, not a real pilot, but I did a training flight for my birthday once in a 172, so I've actually gotten to experience that for real. But yeah, I think if I have to ultimately pick a favorite, I'd go with the A319. I like the Airbus and the little A319. It's just a really cool plane to fly. I never really thought about it. It's difficult to pick favorites. It changes all the time. It's kind of like music. It's like saying what's your favorite song. Well, probably have a favorite song today, but next week it'll be something else. So they're all the planes are different. They all have their own quirks. They all have their own positives and negatives. They all have different systems. So it kind of depends on what you feel like doing. I mean, if I feel like going out and dropping some bombs, blowing things up, you know, the old Cessna 172 or your Airbus, it's not designed for that. So then I'll jump to DCS and take out the F-18 or the F-16 or something like that. So good question, difficult to answer. It all depends on the moment, I suppose. Alright, then we come into our slight right turn down to our last waypoint, which is Addons, which is the beginning of our arrival into Cape Town. Okay, so it is currently 5:46, and we are expected to hit top of descent at 5:54, so just under 10 minutes to go before we start descending. Maybe we'll resurrect the old flight sim and do a farewell flight to the 747 now that it's being retired all over. So a couple of months ago, Qantas flew their last 747 flight, so we won't be seeing the 747 the Qantas on the Qantas routes anymore. And then a couple of weeks ago, same with British Airways, they flew their last British Airways 747, which is really sad. She really was the queen of the skies, the 747. So that's the 747-400. The 747-8 is still in service, mostly as a freighter. But yeah, I mean, the 747-400 was just the face of British Airways, really. And due to the pandemic, bing, no passengers. I'm busy now. Sort yourselves out. Really was the face of British Airways, and we will no longer be seeing British Airways 747. So maybe we should resurrect the old flight simulator and say goodbye to the 747. That could be interesting. Obviously the old flight sim doesn't look anything like the new one, and it's not as good looking as X-Plane is. But for flying airliners, I still use it. As I said before, the only issue is the old out-of-memory issues. Flying into complex airports or with complex aircraft, and you get out-of-memory crashes, which is very frustrating. But I think if we do a flight like Joburg to Cape Town or Cape Town to Joburg, we can probably manage without the sim crashing. Okay, we're about, so top of descent at 5:55. We're about 6-7 minutes out from our top of descent. Hey Sizzle says, very sad about the 747. I only got the chance to fly on it a few times, and I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity. Yeah, I never got to fly on the 747. Yeah, it is kind of sad. But in real life, I've flown on the 737 and the A320. That's all I've ever been on. And I've actually been down to Cape Town and Durban a few times. I've never flown from Durban to Cape Town like we're doing today, but I've flown from from Joburg down to Cape Town and back, and the same to Durban a couple of times. I've flown on Mango before, which is the airline we're flying today, and also flown on Kalula and Safair. But yeah, I never got the chance to fly on the 747, never flown overseas. But we'll fly it in the sim. We'll get behind the controls and fly the 747. Say goodbye nicely. Really was an iconic aircraft. If you don't know, back whenever the 747 was built, I can't remember the year, but Boeing bet the whole company on the 747. They went into massive debt and basically said, you know, if this plane fails, that's it. No more Boeing. They took a massive risk. They bet the company on the 747, and it was a massive success. So yeah, it really is an iconic aircraft. It changed air travel forever, and yeah, it will be missed. I mean, having said that, it's not that there are no 747s flying anymore. It's just a lot of the major airlines are removing them from service. So the last two big ones being Qantas and then British Airways a couple of weeks ago. But you can still find 747s flying for other airlines. And the Dash 8, the new version, still flies quite regularly, but like I said, mostly as a freighter. There are a couple of passenger versions. Lufthansa's got, Korean Air's got passenger versions, but the freighter was the real success. And there's a lot of freighters out there. A lot of the Japanese airlines operating the 747-8 cargo version. But yeah, I think there's nothing quite like a British Airways 747. And for their kind of farewell flight, they had one in the old school British Airways Landor livery, and it just looked so cool. But anyway, that's how things go. I mean, we've been through many different kinds of aircraft over the years. They come and they go as we get newer and more efficient, and we advance in technology. I mean, if you compare something like the, just the 747 to like the 707, the advances that have happened there, there's big differences. And now on to things like the 787, which is just a big computer, and the A350, massive difference to the older planes, and far more efficient with the way they're designed and the way the engines work. So it happens. I mean, at the moment the A380 is starting to be phased out as well. It's just too big. And someday we'll see. I know it seems like almost impossible, but someday we'll see the 737s get replaced. I mean, that there are 737s everywhere. I think the 737 is currently still the most common airliner. At one point, the A320 was, I think they had more orders, the A320neo, but as far as I'm aware, the 737 is still the most common airliner. But someday those will be phased out as well. And who knows, in Flight Sim in 20 years time, what aircraft will be flying. And who knows what Flight Sims will look like in 20 years time. Geez, if you compare FSX from 2006 to flights in 2020, it's absolutely chalk and cheese, complete difference. You know, that's a space of just 14 years. In 20 years time, who knows what Flight Sims is going to look like. Okay. We are very close to our top of descent now. I'm going to turn off all these airport symbols just to clean it up a little bit. So we're going to go in and tile our 2,000 feet into our panel over here. We'll be descending down to 2,000. We can armor auto brake. Level 2 is good. Let's see that we haven't missed anything. Yeah, there's our engine starting to spool down, so we are preparing for our descent into Cape Town. So we're going to go through the clouds here, over the mountains, out to the left, over the ocean, and we'll turn back around, intercept the ILS, and land on runway 01, Cape Town International Airport. Okay, so some speed restrictions to take into consideration. 30 DME. So let's make sure we've got CTV set, which is 115.7. So we'll put that on nav 2. So 115.7. That'll give us CTV. Charlie Tango Victor, which is the Cape Town VOR, and we need to make sure we adhere to a couple of speed restrictions. So at 30 DME we need to be 250 knots or less, and at 8 DME we need to be 210 knots or less. On the localizer we're at 180, and passing the outer marker 150 or less. So I'll keep that up so we can make so we can keep referring back to that. Currently we're at 257 and we're about to descend. Let's let our passengers know. Okay, there we go. We have begun our descent. So at 15,000 feet, we'll turn on the seatbelt signs. Let's double check our landing altitude. 150. Perfect. Okay, let's see. So we've actually got the speed restrictions programmed in here. So there's 30 DME from Cape Town below 250. And then we've got below 210. So it's mainly the speeds on the localizer and passing the outer marker that we're going to have to manage ourselves, because the other ones are set in our flight plan. Okay, so we're going to descend down through the clouds now. Okay, update on our arrival time. So, expecting Cape Town 20 past 6. So that's quite a bit later than we had indicated initially. Let's go and check with PACX. They're expecting to arrive in 20 minutes. So, looks like we're going to arrive pretty much just on time if this calculation stays as it is, which it hasn't been. It's been slowly getting later and later. Okay, passing through 29,000 feet. Be descending into the clouds just now. I think I'll put the seatbelt signs on just before we go into the clouds, just in case we have any turbulence. Alright, so just checking our checklist, and all we've got there is seatbelts on, passing 15,000, landing lights on, passing 10,000. Okay, so transition altitude 7,500. Let's see if we've got that in here. I can't remember. Okay, so here's something that I can't remember about the 737 is where do I set transition altitude? Or is this one that I had to set before? There we go. Let's do that. Okay, it's 25,000 feet. Okay, so according to this, we're gonna arrive. It keeps increasing, so I'd say maybe 27, 28 minutes past 6, and PACX is expecting us to land at quarter past, so I think we're gonna go and let the passengers know that we are gonna be slightly late. Okay, Sizzle says the graphics have definitely improved on Flight Sim. Absolutely, I mean, it's been a huge improvement, especially with the new Flight Simulator. It looks amazing. Still not convinced on the flight model. I think there's some adjustments that need to be made, especially to things like the rudders. Obviously the airliners are still being developed, but for sure, I mean, we'll do a stream sometime on the old school Flight Sim. And even that was miles ahead of the simulators that came before it. X-Plane still looks great, but yeah, the new Flight Simulator is just incredible. And it's only getting better, so like I said, in a few years' time, who knows what they're going to look like. Let's have a look at a little fly past, shall we? Okay, now below 20,000 feet. And I think I'm going to stick on the seatbelt signs now. Bing. Just so that if we hit any turbulence going into those clouds up ahead, everyone is prepared, so they can all go and take their seats now. Alright, we're coming up to Addons now, which is our initial, or our beginning of our approach into Cape Town. So there's our 30 DME waypoint, where we will slow down to 250. I mean, currently our target speed is 254, and we're actually doing 247. 246.5. So there we'll make sure that we're below 250, which is all good. We're currently 42 DME from Cape Town. So the other speed we need to make sure we don't miss is 8 DME 210 knots. But we'll double check that. And here we go into the clouds. I think we can take the music off for now. Okay, so just about to pass 15,000 feet. Our seatbelt signs are already on. Alright, having a look at our checklist, our next thing is our altimeter setting when we pass transition level, which is 7,500 feet. Our altitude is set. Let's double check our ILS frequencies. So, I don't know why I did that. I should have just closed that. Runway 1, let's double check. So ILS 110.3. Let's put that in here. And we'll put it on both sides. 110.3. Good. Okay, so Cat 1 is what we're doing. And I believe we're class or category C. So our minimums are 296. Let's go and dial that in. This would be arrow. .296. Okay, 110.3 with 11 degrees course. That's set on both sides. That is set on both sides. Minimums 296 is set. Let's see if we can get weather for Cape Town.
Foxtrot Alpha, Charlie Tango, airport information, November 2000, Zulu, weather, wind,
Information
026
November.
at 7, visibility 10,000, sky condition 5,000, scatter temperature 14, 2.13, QNH 1011, advise on initial.
Okay, so information November, and we are 1011 QNH, so we'll dial that in so long. There's 11,000 feet. And at 10,000 we will turn on our landing lights. Okay, so ILS course and frequency set. Our approach speed reference is set. We're doing flaps 30 landing, and our approach speed is 151. We can actually update that. Flaps 30, speed 150. And minimums set to Barrow and 296.
We have begun our final
Set.
descent into your destination. Flight attendants
There's
will be passing
10,000
through the
feet.
cabin to select
All of
any
our landing
class
lights
one
can come
final
on.
time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you. Please complete all Wi-Fi related tasks and stow any larger electronics.
So there we come in, and we're going to turn out here to the left, over the ocean, and do a 180 back in onto the runway. So in reality, once we turn to the left here at some point, we would receive vectors from air traffic control, but we don't have that right now in the sim. There's no controllers online on Batson. We were flying online. There was someone earlier, but they were in the Johannesburg side, so it wouldn't have covered us here in any case. Which side is Table Mountain? That's Table Mountain straight ahead of us over there. So the actual city of Cape Town is down here. The airport is on this side. Well, when I say the city, I mean like the CBD is down this side. And Cape Town Airport is just in front of us, and that is Table Mountain that you can see out ahead. So yeah, when we come in on this side, we don't go towards Table Mountain. We're going to turn to the left here and go out over Stellenbosch. So if you remember the stream that I did with the 404, when we did our coastal tour, we took off from Cape Town and we flew around this little hill here, out this side, and then we went out between those mountains and out that way. Okay, so we passed 7,500 feet. So let's go and set our altimeter. So QNH 1011 set. Double check that it's on the other side as well, which it is. What I am going to do is just swap these frequencies back so we can check. We're at 12 DME and by 8 DME we need to be at 210 knots or less. So let's go and bring our speed down to 210. The other thing we can do is arm our speed brakes. So there's 10 DME at 230 knots. And we'll go flaps 1. So there's the airport straight ahead of us. And we're going to turn out now to the left. Okay, so we need to bring this out because we are quite fast. Come on. So we're actually supposed to be below 210 knots now. But our aircraft pitched down quite a bit there. Okay, so there's 210 knots now. And we'll go flaps 5, just to keep the nose down. And we'll come down to 200 knots. So looking at our speed restriction again, on the localizer, 180 I think it was. Yeah, so on the localizer, 180 knots until 10 DME. Okay, let's carry on with the rest of our checklist. So flaps we will do on schedule. Speed brakes are armed. Auto brake is set at level 2. And the next thing to do is flaps and gear. Perfect. So we're now going to go out over the ocean. And Table Mountain is out that side. There's the airport just behind us. Okay, let's go into our vertical speed mode and do a nice descent down to our 2,000 feet. What is that? Right, there's an oil rig in... it's off the coast of Cape Town, which is It's never been there before, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it. Can actually slow this descent down a little bit. I think you're going in the wrong direction if the airport is behind you. No. So basically when we were approaching the airport, the runway was perpendicular to us. So if we'd gone straight towards the airport, we wouldn't be able to land. So we're coming towards the airport and we're going to go out over the ocean and turn to line up with the runway. So no, not going the wrong way. Just we obviously are a fairly big plane, so we can't turn super quickly. We need a bit of space to be able to turn around and line up with the runway. What is that out there? Looks like lights. I know what it is. Something else that's not off the coast of Cape Town. It's an aircraft carrier. Welcome to X-Plane, where there are aircraft carriers all over the place. Okay, let's go ahead and start our turn towards our localizer, and we'll bring our speed down to 180 knots for the localizer. This is why I'm not a pilot. Ah, well, there's always time to learn. I didn't know that in the beginning. It took me a couple of years before I learned about approach procedures and the ILS and stars and all of that. Let's see if we can see the aircraft carrier. We can just see the lights. There it is. Yeah, that's not there in real life. I mean, that's something you might see off the coast of Cape Town. I don't know. An aircraft carrier, not so much. Okay, we can turn once again. And we will wait just a little bit and then arm our approach. One day we'll get you into flight sim, K-Sizzle, and then I can teach you all about approaches to the runway and stars and all of that good exciting stuff. Okay, let's arm our approach so that we can intercept our localizer, and our localizer is alive, and so is our glide slope. Okay, let's go flaps 10 in just a bit. So we want to be gear down once we intercept the glide slope, and we want to be flaps 10 when we put the gear down. So we'll do that in just a bit. K-Sizzle says she's keen. I'm always keen. It's a bit of a ball ache getting into flight sim because it's not like another game where you open it up and you play. It takes a bit of configuring and playing around with other bits of software and getting things set up and working. But once you do get it working, if you're interested in flying, it's, for most of us, the closest we can get to actually flying a plane. Right, so there we're intercepting the glide slope. Sorry, we're intercepting the localizer. So localizer is captured. 10 DME now, so we can start slowing down. So we'll go flaps 10. And we'll go gear down. And flaps 15. And flaps 25. Now we'll go down to our VREF, which is 150 plus 5. Glide slope is now on one line, so we're about to capture that. Okay, and as that comes down, let's go flap steady, and then because there's only one of me, we'll do our checks. So I'm going to turn our lights on. Start switch is to continuous. Okay, flap set 30, check. Speed brakes are on, auto brake level 2, taxi lights on. Approach is on and captured. We've only got a single channel because this is on our Cape Town VR. Probably not going to update now, but that doesn't matter because we're going to land manually in any case. Okay, gears down and locked. And we are cleared to land. Let's tell the passengers. And we'll bing the bing to let them, cabin crew, know that we are about to land. Okay, so auto throttle can come off. And we will take manual control of our throttle. In reality, there's a switch that you have on the control column that you can just push to do that, but it's just easier for me to click over there, which is why I've done that. Not particularly realistic, but it's the easiest way to do it in the sim. Okay, and we'll disengage the autopilot, and we are now flying. So let's keep it on the ILS. Okay, we can see the puppy lights now. We've got 2 white, 2 red, which is perfect, and our ILS confirms we are on the glide slope. So the wind's pushing us a little bit to the left. So we'll compensate, and we are cleared to land.
400. Approaching minimums. 200.
Okay, so minimums continue.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we'll go reverse. Using all the runway. I thought we were quite heavy on fuel, so we're going quite far.
80 knots.
We'll taxi right to the end. There's 80 knots, so we'll go back down to idle and we'll take manual braking. $50 knots.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 8:27 a.m. and it's currently about 13 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins, as items may have shifted during the flight. If this is your final destination, we thank you for flying with us. If you're making a connection, we encourage you to check your itinerary to ensure a smooth continuation.
Perfect landing, thank you. We landed a little bit deep. And normally if you watch 737s landing at Cape Town in real life, they stop very soon on the runway, but we are quite heavy on fuel today for some reason, so I'm not surprised we went quite far. Let's bring up the flaps so we can turn off the auto brake. Landing lights can now come off. we'll turn off the strobe lights. Engine start switches back to auto, and we can start the APU. Okay, let's double check that our spoilers are down, which they are. Alright, checklist. Speed brakes down, flaps retracted, landing lights off, probe heats off. We'll do now. Stabilizer trim back to 4 units. It's going to take a while. Six, 5, and 4. Going quite slowly. In reality, obviously, you would have a co-pilot to do this stuff while you were steering. Okay, so stabilizer trim 4 units, APU started, position lights are set to steady, weather radar come off, and so can the terrain radar. Okay, so we are going into Alpha 12 we chose. So there's 3 and 2, which are the big gates for the bigger international flights. So is 4, and I think 5 is as well. 5 might be a small one. Can't remember. Not 5 looks like. Yeah, I think 5 is also a big one. Okay, we're going all the way down to 12. There's 6. There's 8. Starts slowing down a bit. And we'll turn the taxi lights off so we don't blind the ground crew as we turn in. Okay, there's 11. So this one will be 12. Okay, so we have the auto gate system, or whatever it's called. So it'll tell us exactly when to stop. Just gotta watch that bar. It's picked up that we're a 737. There it says 50 meters to go. 11, 10, 9. There's 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, so we'll go and set the parking brake. We will connect the APU. And we'll go through the checklist. So parking brake set, APU bleed set to on. APU generator on, that is set. And we will turn off both engines. And turn the seatbelt signs off. Okay, shutdown procedure. Engine start levers to cut off. Transponder to standby. We will turn off our anti-collision light. That's the jetway connecting, I believe. There we go. Window heaters all off. Engine hydraulic, electrical pumps off, hydraulic pumps off, left and right recirc fans off, light directors both off, water brake off, and we will leave the APU on for now, and that is the end of our flight. So let's go and try something before we end. Now that we're on the ground. As you can get off. Okay. Oh, the door is open. I think we can go out here. Oh wow. Right, bye. Good luck. Thanks for flying, Mango. That doesn't look natural, but we'll go with it. I didn't know you could do this. I think I can just go through this wall. Apparently I can. Oh wow. Oh no. Oh, okay. Let's just go back into the jetway. That's not how Windows works. Works? Work. That's not how Windows work in real life. I'm coming back. Coming back. Clearly, by the graphic issues, not supposed to do this. We are back on the platform. Can we open this door? Check at that. So let's see what happens if we open those emergency exits. I'm really interested to see. I'm guessing it's just going to open the door like that one did. Guys, I really like this flight. Oh, there it is. I'm here now. Look at that. Isn't she gorgeous? Well, that brings us to the end of this stream. Thank you so much to those of you who tuned in, and hope to see you again soon. It's been a great 3-hour stream, all the way from Durban down to Cape Town. We had some fun with the passengers. We had a nice, smooth flight this time. No failures, no issues. Nice, smooth landing. But it's been fantastic, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.